I would like to start with the question, what are your strengths? And therefore, I want to tell you a story because when I was studying, I studied in the dual system, which means that at the one hand, I was working and on the other hand, I was studying. And during my working time, I also worked for the purchasing department for half a year in total. And after 2 months, we had scheduled a very important meeting where we had to purchase something from an external huge company. So we invited some representatives from other companies, and we were well prepared, of course, because we really had to know our points. And in the morning, where the meeting was scheduled, my supervisor wrote me an email that he could not make it because he was completely ill, just lying in his bed. And he left the decision open to me if I wanted to do it by myself or if I wanted to reschedule the meeting to do it together with him. And in the beginning, I really thought about rescheduling it because at that time I was just 20 years old. I had nearly no working experience and I had to negotiate with some men who are around about 50 years old, so there's a huge difference. Then they have lots of working experience, and also the meeting was scheduled in English, which is not my mother tongue, so it was even more difficult for me. So I had to decide, and I just decided to see it as a challenge and to do it, and afterwards to learning from it. And during the meeting, I was of course a little bit nervous, above all in the beginning, but after some minutes I really felt how it works and what I should say and what I should do. So in the end, the meeting went quite well, I would say, and I was able to save time for the company because we did not reschedule the meeting. And I could talk about my notes together with my supervisor and I could show them to him, and so we were able to select the company we would like to work further with. And this is also my main strength, that in situation where it really counts, I can put myself in such a focus that most of the time I can make the best out of the situation. Now let me look to the second question. The second question is, what are your weaknesses? And I would like to tell you a story about my high school life. Because when I was at high school, I saw some things where I thought, okay, that does not go well, and I wanted to change that. And I also asked some friends and other students about the subjects. And they completely agreed to me because they also thought that these things were not working well. And so I decided to put up a team for the students' committee election. And we prepared for the presentation we had to give in front of all of the students. So it was also a very important preparation and also presentation. And the preparation time was quite fun because we built up a nice team. We became really, really tight friends, and we had much of fun together. And on the day of the presentation, we were all, of course, very nervous because we also knew that we would see every one of the students every day in our high school life again. So we had to be well prepared to not embarrass ourselves, of course. And we did the presentation, we thought it went quite well. And in the afternoon, we got the message that we were not elected and that we actually lost. And I was very disappointed by that. I was very down, and I was the next few days just procrastinating because I so much wanted to improve the school, to support the students and do some things for them. So as I said, I procrastinated, I was down, I was sad. I really was searching for the mistake we did. And one evening I had dinner with my family and I had a long talk with my parents. And above all, through that, I realized that I should overcome my main weakness to being stuck kind of in the past and to rethink everything. And I should rather go on and look forward. And I also realized that my main target was not to win this election, but my main target was actually to improve the school. So what I did was that I just adapted the way coming to this target, but I wanted to achieve it either way, even if it did not work through this election. Then let me come to the next question. Are you good at dealing with change? And I would like to tell a story during my business studies. And I did this in a dual system, which means that I was working and at the same time studying. And when I was working, I had scheduled a meeting together with my supervisor when I worked in the purchasing department. So I worked there for half a year overall, and after 2 months this meeting took place. And it was so important because we had to purchase something from external people, so from external huge global companies. So it was also important to maintain a good reputation of our company. And we were actually well prepared. We had our notes and we discussed internally a lot. And in the morning where the meeting should have taken place, my supervisor wrote me an email and he told me that he's completely ill and that he would not make it to the meeting. And that was a huge change for me because normally he was the main actor during these negotiations, during these discussions. And without him, I imagined that I would be sitting there. I was just 20 years old at that time, and I would be sitting there with men around about 50 years old who had all much more working experience than I had. And also the meeting was scheduled in English, which is not my mother tongue. So it was very hard to decide for me, and I did not know what to do in the beginning. But then I just took his notes he had, so my supervisor's notes, and I adapted them to my notes. And I really thought how he did like negotiations like that in the past, and I just tried to adapt that to the way how I normally acted. And in the beginning I was very nervous because I decided to do the meeting and to not reschedule it. In the beginning I was very nervous, but after some time I think it went quite well and I got into it. So overall the meeting went quite well and I was able to save time for our company because we did not have to reschedule the meeting. And this is also the reason or the story that shows that I actually am good in dealing with change, also in tenseful situations like that. And now coming to the next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And to answer this question, I want to tell you a story about my high school life. Because there were some things I recognized that did not work that well, so I did not like some things at that school. Even overall, it was a great, nice school. And I asked some friends and some other students what they are thinking about my plans or about my thinkings, and they completely agreed. So I decided to put up a team together to go for the election to the students' committee. And we prepared well, so during the preparation time for the presentation, we had to do in front of all of the students. During that preparation time, we really grew together as a team and we really became friends. And it was very nice working together with them and kind of leading them as a team. So we did the presentation, and also on the day of the presentation, we were all so nervous, but we tried to talk to each other and to keep us down, so it worked. And overall the presentation was good at that day, but in the afternoon we got to know that we lost the election. So I was really sad and disappointed about that, and I really did not know what to do or how to handle it. And actually my parents helped me because we had dinner together some day after, and we had a long talk also about that. And there I realized that I could achieve my goal to improve the school and to help the students also without this stupid election, because I could also just do other things to improve the school and to raise my voice. And this was also where I overcame my procrastination that days. And this is also like where I see myself in 5 years, because I see myself as a leader of a team, maybe in a huge global company, because I had so much fun to leading this team for the presentation preparation. And it was also very nice to see us growing together and to create a nice working environment and to really become friends during that time. So this is what I wanted to do, and this is also what I want to bring in a company, to establish strong group cohesions, to go together to the aim, to achieve the goal together, and also if something does not work, to just change the way of approaching the target. And now let me go on with the next question. Do you work well under pressure? And there I would like to tell you a story, because during my dual business studies, which means that I was studying and at the same time working, I also worked for the purchasing department for 6 months in total. And there we had scheduled a very important meeting because we had to purchase something from a huge external global company. So it was so important, and also we had to remain a good reputation of our company to the outside, so to the other companies. And my supervisor and I, we were very well prepared, and we had our notes, so he had his, I had mine. We did lots of internal discussions, and in the morning where the meeting was scheduled, my supervisor just wrote me an email and he told me he would not make it to the meeting because he was completely ill and lying in his bed and he could not move at all. So I had to make the decision, am I able to go to do it by myself alone? Also, if he, normally he's always the main representative and he's more often, he talks more often, and I'm just supporting him during these meetings. So I had to decide if I could do it by myself or if I would reschedule the meeting, but then we were losing time. So I decided to see this as a challenge for myself I could learn from, and I decided to do my best and to not reschedule the meeting, but rather to go there and to do it. Even if I was just 20 years old and I had to negotiate with some men in the age around 50 years, and also the meeting was scheduled in English, so it is not my mother tongue, and this was also kind of a problem for me and a challenge. So I just decided to do it, and in the beginning of the meeting I was very nervous, but after some time I really get to know that it is my responsibility now to do the best out of the meeting. And this is also how I handle stressful situations. I think I can really do it, because when it comes to the point when it gets so important, I can completely focus on what is important, and I can completely do my best out of the difficult situation. And now concerning the next question, tell me a little bit about yourself. So during my high school life, I knew some things, I saw some things that I did not like that much. So I really tried to improve the school, and I really wanted to support the students, because I also asked friends and other students about that, and they completely agreed to me that some things were not working that well, even if it was a great high school overall. So I decided to put up a team together for the students' election, and so for the students' committee election. And during that preparation time, the team and myself, we had much fun. We really grew together as friends, and we prepared our presentation well. And then the day came when we had to give the presentation, and we had to give it in front of all of the students. So we were really nervous, and we also knew that we should better not embarrass ourselves, because we would see every student each day in our high school life again. So we did the presentation, and also if we were a little bit nervous, I think it's quite normal, we all know this feeling. It went quite well in the end. And in the afternoon, we get to know that we lost the election and we were not elected as a students' committee for 1 year. So I was very down, I was very sad about that and disappointed, and I searched the mistake and I really looked up in what we did wrong. And after some days of total procrastination, I had a nice dinner together with my family, with my parents, and also a long talk with them. And through this talk, I realized that actually it was not the election I wanted to do. Like, the election was not my target, not my aim, but it was rather to improve the school and to support the students. And so I just searched another way to do that, and I really tried to focus on my goal and not on the way how I would like to approach it. And this is also what I learned from that. And this is also what I try to implement always in my private life, but also in my working life. So I try to achieve targets together with a team to create a strong team cohesion and to have a nice working environment. And I always try to focus on the main target and not on the way how we are approaching it. Then the next question, how do you make important decisions? So for this question, I would like to tell you a little story about my working life, because I did the dual studies, which means that I was working and at the same time I was studying. And I also worked for the purchasing department for 6 months in total. And after 2 months, my supervisor and me, we had scheduled a very important meeting with people from external global huge companies, because we wanted to purchase some things from them. And yeah, we were well prepared because we had to maintain a good reputation of our company. And we had so many discussions internally, but also together, and we had some notes. So as I said, we prepared for a long time for this meeting. And in the morning, the meeting came, or the meeting should take place. My supervisor wrote me an email and he told me that he's not able to join the meeting because he's completely ill, just lying in his bed. And so I had to decide, could I make it without him? Could I be the completely responsible person for our company, the main person, because normally that was his role and I was just supporting? Or do I want to reschedule it? But then, of course, we would have lost time. So I had to make this decision, and what I did, like, this is how I do all my decisions. I put out a piece of paper or some iPad or something to write on, and I create a table at first with pros and cons. And I take 2 minutes, or depending on how much time I have, and also depending on how important this decision is, I just write down pros and cons, like for 2 minutes or for 5 minutes or something. And I did this, and then I ranked them, I weighed them, and afterwards I have like points, and I have really a rational decision schedule on what I should take, if I should go for that or not. And afterwards I also take some time, so in this case it were like 1 or 2 minutes, and I really try to look to hear in my inner feeling and to listen to myself and to my heart what I wanted to do and what I think about that. So I have basically 2 decisions then, and I try to combine them both to one. And this is also how I make important decisions. And in this case, I decided to do the meeting, which was actually a nice decision because I did it quite well. I think it worked quite well. And I was able to save the time for our company. And we were able to pick one company we would like to work on further. So that was actually great. And now to the next question. Why should we hire you? And I would like to tell you a story about that when I was at high school. Because there I recognized some things that did not work well at this place, even it was a great high school overall. So I also asked other students and friends about that, what they were thinking, and they completely agreed to me. So I just decided to put up a team for the students' committee election to support students, but as well to raise my voice and also to make the school a better place, to improve the school. And during the preparation, together with the team, because we had to prepare a presentation, we had to give it in front of all over the students. And during our preparation, we had so much fun and we really grew together as a team and as friends. So that was quite nice and I really liked our preparation time. And on the day where we had to do our presentation, we were of course all very nervous. But either way, we handled it quite well, I think, so it worked good because we managed to keep ourselves down. And in the afternoon, we got to know our result, which was that we were not elected. So we lost the election. And also, it was our last year of being at high school, so we also knew that we would not have the chance again to go for the Students' Committee election. And I was very disappointed and very down, and I was so sad about that, and I completely procrastinated for a few days. But then I had dinner with my family and a long talk with my parents. And afterwards I realized that actually it was not my goal to go for the Students' Committee election, but it was rather my goal to improve the school and to help the students. And so I just could adapt the way of approaching my goal instead of being sad and disappointed about the stupid election. And these learnings are also why you should hire me, because I try to implement that always in my private life and also in my working life. So, for example, if I'm working for a company, I'm always looking for things to improve and to make them better, but in a way that I try to put up a team together and that I really try to create a great group cohesion, to create a nice working environment so that everyone's happy and that everyone feels good at working on this project or on this problem, on this issue. And if it does not work with the way we are approaching it, I just try to find out another solution for approaching and another way, but I did not lose the target out of my eyes.